Yes, I'm still with my pyjama, let's say, not really, because I have the jacket on and yet the pants that I use for taking the body check in the morning, but I don't care. Because today's topic is literally this: the art of making huge mistakes. Like, this book is something that I really love. And well, I just started to read, but the point is that 3 years ago, when I was the most successful version of myself, basically, I was just acting as myself. Like, I was so honest, so true, that I was admitting all my mistakes, all my bullshits, without caring about others people's judgment. And this was the secret why I was so appreciated, because first of all, I was a natural person with all my mistakes, all my flaws, everything. Second, because basically I was showing the truth, like without the perfection that social media requires nowadays, without these bullshits. And well, this was even the like I always say, it's the happier version of myself, because it was me. Like, everyone has imperfection, everyone does mistakes consistently, and well, I love it. Like, we should be that. We are humans, first of all. But I lost that part, because 3 years ago I met people who started to, let's say, putting me down for my being myself, basically. So not even for mistakes, because there are people that just looks for negative, just look to put you down, doesn't matter what, for the simple reason that they are so unhappy with themselves. And I understand, in most cases they had an hard life, but this is not the reason why we should put others down. And to this person I was saying, well, if sufferance made you evil, well, you wasted it. This was like the main phrase that I told to this person. Like, I repeated so many times. Of course, not in this way that can look mean, but was like in a sweet way, in order to say, we can use the sufferance in order to improve the world. We can use all our pains in order to help others. Because basically, hurt people hurt people. I know that is a very common phrase, but I don't think it's totally true, because hurt people can hurt people or can help people. Because from pain, we can, in a sort of way, decide what to do. Of course, we cannot really decide, but if we are aware about this, we can decide what to do. So if you suffered and you feel better making other suffering, well, you will go for this way. If you suffer and you start to feel empathy and you don't want that other people will suffer anymore, well, I think you just understood what you want to do in life. And this is so common. There are the best people in the world, probably, are the ones that have suffered a lot, and well, in a certain way, they use this pain in a positive way. Even because in this way you will feel better. Making other people suffering maybe will relieve yourself for a bit, but on the long term doesn't work. Yes, I know it's not voluntarily things. I did the same, like for 30 years, first of all, for 30 years, first of all, and after, in these last 2 years, probably, in order to recover. Yeah, for probably the last year was again almost my best version, because I'm more and more aware of my mentality, my characteristics, my personal traits, my psychological traits. Yeah, so this is a huge thing for me. And well, this book, this is so big for me. I know it's a small book, it's a bullshit book. No, it's not a bullshit book, it's nice. But I say it's a bullshit book because it's like talking a story. It's a storytelling basically about how mistakes can shape our life and how many people in this world, yeah, let's follow the rule 80-20, even though I think now it's more 90-10 or 95-5, are unhappy compared to the happy people. And here there is an example of why this happens. Basically, it happens because we force people to be what they are not. And this book is basically suggesting that we should make mistake in an amazing way. Like another let's call him artist that I follow is Mark Manson. The subtle art of don't giving a fuck. And basically it's the same principle, like who cares? You will die. At least die happy. Of course not hurting others, but being yourself. And this book says literally the same. Be yourself and don't care about mistakes. Actually, they taught us that mistakes should be avoided. No. You should do mistakes in order to learn. That's different. It's the same thing, but in a different view. Because if we should avoid mistakes, we try to not do mistakes, so we do nothing and we learn nothing. And we are afraid and criticize people that make mistakes. So yeah, if we do mistakes and we can learn from it, well, you changed everything. Curiously, you will not repeat the mistakes. I mean, less often, to the point that you will not anymore. It's like when you drive a car. The first time you do so many mistakes, you don't even understand what you do. Then you start to do mistakes, understanding that you're doing mistakes. After that, you're going good, but you need to put so much focus. And the last point is when you do perfectly without even noticing. You mastered it at that point. So yeah, guys, what I would say, make mistakes. Don't be ashamed, because what blocked me, what stopped me in these years, in the last 2 years, from expressing myself, in the last 3 years, was other people judgment, putting me down, criticism, putting me down, and making me feel ashamed of what I do. And well, even with therapy, you learn a non-judgmental environment, how much can affect you positively. This is what I want to do with people that surround me, even when they do something wrong. Of course, it's not, I didn't master it, but I try to understand why they did it. I try to understand why they were mean. I try to understand that probably something similar happened to them and they learned this way. So I'm trying to understand and seeing the child behind the person. Doesn't matter if he's an 85 years old man, for example, because even behind that old man there is a young inner child that, of course, in some things never learned or was never been able to express himself. So guys, be yourself, but try to do that in a good way, like with good intentions. Probably this is the best thing. And I know that sometimes evil comes behind a good intention. Well, so history is like very... There are so many examples in this one. That's why we should accept criticism. And that's why I want to focus about criticism. This was my mistake, that I was accepting a lot the criticism in order to improve myself. The point is that I was allowing all the criticism. And the same person that did hurt me so much, she was telling me, like, you have no boundaries. I was like, what the fuck is a boundary? Yeah, I didn't know at that point. But she was right. And well, now I'm regaining the positive feeling of being myself, making mistakes, not being ashamed for the mistakes. Now I need to create and make very strong boundaries for people who will criticize me, who will just try to put me down, and instead of allowing them to do that, I need to understand how to set boundaries in a proper way, because it's my responsibility. And well, even try to understand who is the inner child, the art inner child behind that person. Guys, make mistakes, do it in a positive way, like with positive intention, and because everyone try to do their best, basically, think if you can improve something, and well, look for other people's criticism if there is something to take from it. That's something. Put some boundaries, because unhappy people will just put you down. This is the art of making huge mistakes, amazing mistakes actually.